Hi guys, let's do the Leetcode 8 string to integer. It's also known as ATOI. If you've been reading your KNR, you would see that they talk about ATOI. So what is it? KNR is Kernighan and Ritchie C programming language. So the problem states that implement ATOI which converts a string to an integer. Now then he says that the function first discards as many white space characters as necessary until the first non-white space character is found. Then starting from this character takes an optional initial plus or minus sign followed by as many numerical digits as possible and interprets them as a numerical value. The string can contain additional characters after those that form the integral number, which are ignored and have no effect on the behavior of this function. If the first sequence of non-white space characters in str is not a valid integral number, or if no such sequence exists because either str is empty or it contains only white space characters, no conversion is performed. If no valid conversion could be performed, a zero value is returned. Only the space character is considered a white space character. So that's easy. We don't have to compare it with /n or /t. Assume we are dealing with an environment that could only store integers within the 32-bit signed integer range. So we are in a 32-bit signed integer range, which is int max, which is 2 raised to the power 31 minus 1, or int min, which is negative 2 raised to the power 31. So that's pretty much is the problem, and he gives an example. For example, you're given the string 42, you convert it to 42 integer. You're given minus 42 string, you convert to minus 42. You're given 4193 with words, and all these other non-digits are basically ignored. So you get 4193. Then you have words n987, you get 0. And that's because he's saying the first non-white space vector is w. This is not a numerical digits or a plus minus sign. Therefore, no valid conversion could be performed. I see. That's interesting. So basically, I guess we'll need to have a check that checks for the character to be between 0 and 9. Now str equal to this one. This is interesting as well because he's saying this is out of the range of a 32-bit signed integer. Therefore, int min is returned. So if you're out of the range, and depending upon whether you're negative or positive, then you just return int min or int max. Okay, so let's give it a shot. Hopefully it's not too hard. It's a very classic problem, I would say. So we need a indexer into s or iterator, whatever the heck you want to call it. So it's I, and then you have sign, and I would initialize that one to 1. I would be initialized in the for loop, and then we can have a variable on it, result, where we would be storing the result. So now for I equal to 0, so first thing we should do is, as the problem states, skip all space characters. So if for I equal to 0, si equal to this. Now normally we would have also probably a check like si equal to new line or /tab, but this is, he said that don't worry about them, only space is considered a white space character. Then we just say, okay, that's not the only thing, and then we have to say I plus plus, typical while loop, and then you say basically that is your skipping all white space, because the body of the for loop in this case will be empty. Now after we have done that, we have to take care of the sign. So how do we take care of the sign? So we say if SI at this point is equal to plus or SI equal to minus, then what happens? Then we have a check which says, okay, so now we assign the value of sign. So sign is, we can have a C's power here, where we, in as few lines we can get our effect. So then the sign is, we check if it is equal to this, we check for that, and if that is the case, we return the sign will be 1, otherwise the sign will be -1, right? So the sign gets fixed here. Now what is the catch here? You do want to, after that, work on the next digit, so you make sure that the I is incremented over there. So now you come to another while loop where we start by initializing result to 0. Then we say if SI, you could also use a for loop here with a little bit of jugglery, I would say, but it's as good as this. So be in the loop as long as we have this condition fulfilled, which is, so I was actually using a while loop here, and I had while something like this, like while SI not equal to null character. Basically walk through the string, right? And then within that you can have things like SI is, it is it, and things like that, and then but this is, and then you have to also initialize result to 0 here if you're going to use the while loop, because while loop will not initialize the accumulator or result for you. You need to do it outside, and in the for loop also, but for loop gives you a very well defined construct to go over these problems. So, and SI less than equal to the digit 9, then we are in good shape, and then we can do I plus plus right here. Now at this point, as you can see, we all we need to do is we need to say result equal to result times 10 plus keep adding the new digit that you find. So that is si minus the 0. So that's your thing. Now what is the catch here? He's saying, first of all, let's see if it passes through some of the test cases at this point already. So at this point, if we come back here and we can simply return sign times result, what happens then? Let's see. It's a run code. So that one passes. Now let's see submit. And as you can see, that is failing, and that is failing because he's saying, look at the error number, look at the error that he actually gives. He says this cannot be represented in type int. So we have a problem here. Our result is actually int, and he said very clearly, when you look back, he said that if you cannot represent it within this 32-bit sign integer range, then we have to basically return int max or int min. So in that case, I was actually trying something like this, and then doing a check if the result is, so here we can have a check which says if result is greater than int max. Now we can do something here. We can say if result is greater than int max, then if result, now if the result is greater than int max, then if sign is, see, if sign is -1, like, because we already have taken the sign. So if sign is -1, we just set result to int max plus 1, because as you know, in absolute sense, the sign negative sign 32-bit max is actually 1 more than the positive So int positive int 32 max number. So and then otherwise it's just int max, right? Now and then we can just break. But then the problem is that should take care of that. Let's see that. And as you can see that basically is passing the all the test cases. But I think one of the things he mentioned was that assume we are dealing with an environment that could only store integers within the 32-bit signed integer range. So basically I don't think we have choice to use int 64. So in that case, how about that? You can make use of double to make sure that this doesn't overflow. And every time we calculate result, we see, hey, is it greater than int max? That means for a int it has already overflowed. In that case, we just do this little bit of convoluted logic, I would say, not too much of it, then break out of that, and then we are good to go. So let's say it passes this one, and it passes, wow, cool. So it's 4 milliseconds faster than the 56% of the online solution. So that's cool. So as you can see, we just nailed the Leetcode 8, which was characterized as medium difficulty. But it's a very classic C kind of problem where you do the integer, ASCII to integer, taking care of the overflow and the plus sign and minus sign, I would say, and also making sure that you skip all the space characters. So there you have it. We just fix the string to integer ATOI Leetcode 8, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys in the next video. Until then, adios, hasta mañana.